The GERD standoff, water wars, regional rivalries, and Trump's Gambit. In the heart of the Nile Basin, a $4.8 billion dam has become more than a hydropower project. It's a geopolitical flashpoint. Ethiopia calls it a lifeline for development. Egypt and Sudan call it a threat to survival. As water levels rise behind the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, so do tensions across borders. Now, with Donald Trump's surprise re-entry into the fray, the stakes have never been higher. Can diplomacy tame the river, or will the Nile's flow detect the region's future? Hi, I'm Sina Exau, and this is Analytica Today. On July 5, 2025, Ethiopia announced the fifth filling of the GERD reservoir, a move hailed domestically as a triumph of sovereignty, but described by Egypt and Sudan as unilateral escalation. Just 10 days later, on July 15, 2025, US President Donald Trump thrust the dispute back into the global spotlight, claiming American involvement and funding the dam and expressing a desire to broker a solution. For over a decade, the GERD has fueled a complex standoff over water rights, security, and regional dominance along the Nile River. With Ethiopia powering ahead, literally and figuratively, Egypt and Sudan are doubling down on demands for a binding agreement, while international actors, now led by Trump's bold re-engagement, circle the fray. This analysis explores the stakes, perspectives, and potential pathways in one of Africa's most critical disputes. For Ethiopia, the GERD is a cornerstone of national pride and progress. Launched in 2011, the dam promises to generate 6,450 megawatts of electricity, doubling the country's energy capacity and electrifying millions of homes. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has framed it as a sovereign right funded entirely by Ethiopian taxpayers, a testament to self-reliance. This narrative was reinforced after Trump's July 2025 claim that the US had funded the dam, which Ethiopian officials swiftly denied, emphasizing the project's domestic financing and their wariness of external interference. Ethiopia has consistently advocated for African-led solutions, a stance that underscores its cautious response to Trump's mediation offer. The dam's strategic value extends beyond power. By regulating Blue Nile's flow, source of 85% of the river's downstream water, Ethiopia gains leverage in a region long dominated by Egypt's historical claims. Yet Addis Ababa insists its intentions are peaceful, highlighting benefits like flood control and energy exports for neighbors. Critics, however, see a bolder play, Ethiopia's asserting itself as an emerging power, undeterred by downstream objections or international pressure. Egypt's position is stark. The GERD threatens its existence. Relying on the Nile for 97% of its freshwater, Egypt views any upstream disruption as a national security crisis. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has warned that all options are open if water quotas are jeopardized, hinting at military readiness. Egypt welcomed Trump's July 2025 mediation offer, with el-Sisi praising Trump's recognition of the Nile's importance, reflecting Cairo's eagerness for international support to pressure Ethiopia. Sudan, geographically and politically caught in the middle, shares Egypt's concerns, but with nuance. While the dam could stabilize seasonal flooding, Khartoum worries about reduced water flow and operational risks, issues highlighted by sediments buildup during early fillings. Sudan's response to Trump's involvement remains less vocal than Egypt's, balancing potential benefits with downstream anxieties. Both nations demand a legally binding pact on dam operations, accusing Ethiopia of stonewalling talks. For Cairo and Khartoum, this isn't just about water. It's about preserving status quo rooted in colonial-era treaties, now challenged by Ethiopia's ascent and Trump's unpredictable re-entry. The GERD dispute has long drawn global attention, with mediation efforts yielding mixed results. The African Union has led talks since 2020, but progress remains elusive. Egypt and Sudan have pushed for broader involvement from the United Nations, the United States, and the European Union, while Ethiopia resists what it perceives as external meddling. A 2021 US-mediated effort collapsed amid accusations of bias, and subsequent AU talks have produced only vague commitments. The Arab League's support for Egypt and Gulf states' investment in Sudan further complicates the Horn of Africa's power dynamics. On July 15, 2025, Donald Trump reignited the international dimension. During a press conference, he claimed the US had funded GERD, a statement Ethiopia flatly denied, reiterating the project's domestic roots. Trump also declared, quote-unquote, "We think we are going to have that solved very quickly," signaling his intent to resolve the dispute. Egypt embraced this overture, with el-Sisi lauding Trump's engagement, while Ethiopia responded cautiously, preferring African-led solutions and viewing US involvement with suspicion. Trump's re-engagement could reshape the diplomatic landscape. His administration's approach remains undefined, but the prospect of renewed US mediation introduces both opportunity and uncertainty. Ethiopia's diplomatic finesse, casting the GERD as African solution to African challenges, has rallied regional support. Yet Trump's unpredictability could test this strategy. Other powers, like China and Russia, with economic and geopolitical stakes in the region, may also react, potentially countering US influence. The AU's role now hangs in balance. Trump's involvement could either complement or undermine African-led negotiations, depending on how Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan perceive his intentions. For Ethiopia, Trump's claim of funding stings as a challenge to its sovereignty narrative. For Egypt, it's a lifeline to escalate internal pressure. As of July 2025, the GERD is operational, with 2 tribunes online and more planned. Ethiopia celebrates each milestone, but downstream tensions simmer. Egypt has conducted military drills near the Sudanese border, while Sudan blusters its Nile defenses. Rhetoric of water wars looms large. Trump's re-engagement injects fresh uncertainty into this tense standoff. US mediation could break the deadlock if aligned with AU efforts, but risks further polarization if seen as biased, especially given Ethiopia's rebuttal of Trump's funding claim. Ethiopia's measured approach, releasing water during fillings, suggests a willingness to de-escalate, yet the path forward remains fraught. Key questions persist. Can Ethiopia balance its energy ambitions with downstream needs? Will Egypt and Sudan escalate beyond saber-rattling, blustered by Trump's backing? Could climate change, droughts, or floods force a resolution or fracture it further? Trump's involvement adds another layer. His administration's unpredictable foreign policy could either catalyze a deal or deepen mistrust. Without a breakthrough, the risk of miscalculation grows, though Ethiopia's pragmatic concessions offer a glimmer of hope. The GERD isn't just a dam, it's a test of wills, a mirror to regional ambitions, and a challenge to old hierarchies. Ethiopia's bold strides toward energy independence have reshaped the Nile Basin's power map, defying downstream fears and international skepticism with a project funded by its own people. Yet this triumph comes at the cost of the trust with Egypt and Sudan, now amplified by Trump's unexpected plunge into the dispute. As international actors re-enter the fray, led by a US president known for bold claims and swift moves, careful diplomacy is more crucial than ever. For Egypt and Sudan, the fight is existential. For Ethiopia, it's transformative. Cooperation, not confrontation, must guide the Nile's future. I'm Sina Exo, and this is Analytica Today. What's your take? Share your thoughts, because the Nile's future flows through collaboration, not conflict.